What is going on, everyone? Welcome into BP Insights. So yeah, I think it's really crazy how you can go into a workout and you're just not motivated at all. I think it's kind of crazy how you can get through a workout, feel pretty good, but at the beginning you're just like, man, I did not want to do that. I was not feeling it. I was glad I really got going as the workout continued. I was glad I really started to feel it. I think that's what's crazy about a workout is you can really not be feeling it, but as the workout goes on, you can feel better and better. And you kind of just have to trick your brain. Like just now, I woke up from a nap, did not want to work out, but I was just kind of tricking my brain into just do one set. So I did one set of Bulgarians, and then I did another. And then I was just like, okay, let's do 10 more each leg. So I did 10 more each leg, then 10 more each leg. But I'm thinking just, it's just very tough. And, today I'm kind of reeling for, at home it's harder to do just heavier weights. That's why I'm a full believer in going to the gym, because the gym you can really do heavy amounts of weight. I belong to a gym where they do have just about as much weight as you can do. And I think that's what I've really started to believe in as I've hit the gym more, is that you really have to challenge yourself and do as much weight as you can. I think once you just doing volume is not bad, but I think volume just doesn't really challenge you like doing a heavy weight. I think for me personally, and I think this would work. I think this goes for most people, is doing heavy weights, challenging themselves on one set with a heavy amount of weight, whether you're doing dumbbell press, bench press, squat. I think that's the way to go. I think that really pushes you. You feel the pain, you embrace the challenge, you feel like you've accomplished something after. And I think those are the small wins that can help you stay motivated in the gym. I think that's what, if there's one thing, you talk about motivation's only temporary when it comes to the gym. If there's one thing that really can help you stay motivated in the gym, it's going up in weight. It's trying to break personal best. I think that's why if you look at people that are very dedicated to the gym, I think if you ask them why do they go to the gym, I think there's a variety of different answers, but I think deep down that's always towards if not the top of the list, that's always towards the top of the list, is trying to break their personal best. Like your personal record may be 85 pounds on dumbbell bench press. That might be your personal record, 85 pounds. So your goal each day is to try to work towards getting 90 pounds, whether that's improving another exercise so you get stronger overall in the upper body, or just doing 85 as many times, or doing weights below 85 as many times as you can, to just kind of strengthen yourself. Just kind of strengthen so you can eventually beat that personal best of 85. Yeah, and that's a good feeling. I think my brain was kind of fooled for a long time. I was thinking that, so I was doing dumbbell bench press like 65, 70, 75 pounds, mostly between 70 and 80 pounds for a long time, and I was thinking that was kind of I kind of just put that limit on myself. I think that's the thing people love about the gym, is you don't always like that. Sometimes people put a limit on themselves, but sometimes when they go beyond that limit, I think that's the ultimate really good feeling. I think I had limited myself to believing that I could only do between 70 and 80 pounds. I think I only believed it truly that I could do just 80 pounds, no more than that. But after one day, I was just like, give me the 90 pounds, give me the 95 pounds. So I was able to do that. And then one day I did 110 pounds. I think that's probably about my max 110 pound dumbbell press on each arm, which, obviously people can do a lot more. But I was just thinking that felt good to just finally, sometimes you kind of just have to, sometimes you'll have that day. I think this is what feeds into why it's important to go to the gym every day. Sometimes you'll just have that day where you're just like, let me challenge myself today. I think that's looking back on it, that's what's been so cool about going to the gym every single day, is because obviously there's days where you're going to get through your workout, but you're just not going to have the not gonna be feeling adventurous enough to really test your limits, but you're gonna have days where you do want to test your limits, where you are kind of thirsting for more. So I think that's what's important when you go to the gym every day. Is there's gonna be those days where you're thirsting for more. Now you could argue every day you should be thirsting for more. That's true. But some days it's going to be so painful that doing what you normally do, doing a tad bit extra, because I always try to do, you always want to get better each day. Doing a tad bit extra is going to feel really brutal, and you just kind of want to get through that. But the days that you're really feeling it, those are the days where you really want to test your limits, try to break your personal bests, do the extra sets, do the extra reps. So I think that's what's cool about when you go every day. You're just going to have, there's going to be moments, you're going to have flashes of just feeling good and feeling like you're really improving. And I think that's what's so important about dedicating time each day to getting after it. But yeah, overall, do I enjoy it? I would say yes. Do I love it? No. Do people actually really love going to the gym? I think the answer to that question is probably no. I think there's a lot of people, people that it's saved their lives. I think maybe deep down, maybe on the surface they say they love it, but I think deep down they don't necessarily love the day-to-day challenges of it. But yeah, for a lot of people, I think it has saved their life. You see a lot of those these documentary stories. There's people that are kind of in a dark place, and the motivation really to get them out of that dark place was they were just so uncomfortable in it in a day-to-day basis that they were going to do something every day that was going to make them feel better. So I guess that kind of ties into, you see, the people that do really go to the gym every day are the people that were in that dark place for a really long time, and they were uncomfortable in their day-to-day life 7 days a week. They weren't just uncomfortable being overweight or feeling depressed, feeling down, eating bad for 3 or 4 days. They were uncomfortable for 7 days. So they knew they had to make the change because they did not want to feel like that 24/7. But yeah, I'm thinking about going in the morning tomorrow as opposed to the night. Now, the mornings aren't always bad. I don't think a morning lift's as tough as people think. I think it's one of those things. I think the morning lifts is the time where you dread the most. But I think once you get through it, I think you feel a lot better. At least for me. Well, not necessarily. I don't even always feel a lot better because I know usually I go to work after, so I feel good. But you kind of have that little bit of, kind of questioning why you did that, because you're gonna feel good, but you're gonna also feel a tad bit more tired some days. So I think that yes, it does wake you up, but if you go, I think that what's key in the morning is maybe you want to go hard, but you don't want to go super heavy. And I've noticed, like 2 days ago, I went pretty heavy on legs before work, and I was pretty tired for work. I think kind of the key is you want to do some stuff. You want to do, if you're going to have days where you're just going to do more volume, and you kind of just want to, not an easier workout, but you just want to do more volume, really work hammer form, and just get a good workout that you can, a solid workout you can feel good about. I think those are the days. Those are the days when you go early in the morning. I think really probably the days to go heaviest is probably like a mid-afternoon. I've noticed those are probably the days I felt the best. Like if I had a day off of work and I can go to the gym, or between like noon and 3 p.m., those are the days I've really felt the best. Just because at that point, because I take a cold shower, and that feels good. So I've had the cold shower in, I've eaten, so I've kind of had the energy boost from eating, especially if I've eaten right. So you've kind of had the energy, you've had the ability to wake up, the energy boost from food, the shower. You have all those things working for you, and then at that point, like if you've done some things in the morning, like you've accomplished some stuff early in the morning, maybe you had some laundry, a couple errands, and you're kind of feeling content about that. And, you don't have work, like if you're off work that day, you don't really have to worry about that commitment and worrying about being on time. So you can kind of, like, your brain's a little bit relaxed. So with all those things working and your brain a little relaxed from not worrying about work, I think that's kind of the combination for, at least for me personally, to have the best lift. I noticed it was a couple weeks ago, it might have been 3 weeks ago at this point, I was really feeling it on one workout. There was a workout I went into, and I was just really, I got my cold shower in. I had eaten well that day. I just slept pretty well, and I was just really feeling it. It felt like I just wanted to keep going heavy, and I just wanted to keep going heavier and heavier, and I felt like I could go forever. I had to wrap up my workout a little early because I had to be somewhere. But yeah, I was really feeling it that day. I was really just wanted to get after it, and I really was just doing squat, lat pull downs, and just doing everything I could to challenge myself that day and just get after it, improve my strength, improve my stamina. So I remember that day stood out. I think that's what's cool about going to the gym every day. Not only is you're going to have those moments where you want to challenge yourself, you're just going to have days that really stand out. It's just really good days. I remember there was one day I worked out for over 2.5 hours, and I think I did 21 different workouts. Obviously that was a day I didn't necessarily go as heavy as possible, but those were days where I was just going heavy volume. I remember just feeling really good after that workout. Just didn't really eat a whole lot before, but sometimes that can help you. And I just had my bottle of water and had a ton of water and was just making sure to drink water and just got after it for 2 hours, just kept doing workouts. And I noticed if you kind of just keep, like, say you're doing leg press 5 sets of 10 and you do that, you cruise through that, and then you do another lat pull downs 5 sets of 10, and then you do some dumbbell shoulder press 5 sets of 10. I noticed once you kind of check the box off of a workout and then another workout, once you've kind of put together a string of different workouts, you've hit muscle groups, then you can just really start feeling it. And then it seems like the rest of the workout you can kind of just cruise. It just seems a lot easier, at least for me personally. Because I think what's important is I think some guys take too much rest in between sets. I remember I was at the gym one day and there was a guy that just took, I don't even know what, he was taking such a long rest. I don't even know exactly what he was working, but he was on one of the benches. Was doing hammer curls maybe. The guy was taking so long in between sets. I'm thinking, like, dude, what a waste of time. He's just kind of just laying there, sitting hunched over, listening to music, trying to get pumped up. I'm just thinking, like, dude, you just wasted so much time. Like, that's like the amount of time he sat there. He could have done 5 sets of hammer curls. He could have probably done 3 different exercises in the time he sat there. And I'm thinking, like, dude, that's just a lot of wasted time. I think that's the thing. You see a lot of people. I think that's why people get frustrated with gyms. And I know gyms, especially after 5 p.m. when they get extremely busy, I think people get annoyed because sometimes people go, I notice my gym's better about this, but sometimes people will be on a squat rack for like 30, 40 minutes, and they'll do maybe like 3 or 4 sets. Now, granted, oftentimes they are going heavier, but I'm thinking, like, that's just like a lot of, you don't need that much rest. Like, really, you should only be, like, if you're squatting, like most people don't always even do 5 sets, but most people, like, if you're doing 3, 4 sets, that really should only take you, like, even if you're doing 3 sets of 12, that really should only take you about, I don't know, it really should take you no more than 12 to 15 minutes, because you don't want more than a couple minutes of rest in between sets. So that's the thing. If you're on a squat rack for 40 minutes and you're doing, even if you are doing 5 or 6 sets, that's just a lot of rest in between sets. I mean, it's not really not necessary, to be honest. But yeah, I mean, it's squat is challenging. I think people, that's what I didn't realize when I've watched people that take the rest in between heavy sets of squat. You know, I don't want to sound like a hypocrite. I've noticed that when I've gone heavier on squat, I've started to take a little bit more rest in between sets. But yeah, you just don't, like the kind of where I was getting at, you don't want to take too much. You don't want to take too long. You want to take some rest, but you don't want to take too much. But yeah, that's the thing. I think the goal in the gym is just trick your mind into think you're getting stuff done. I think, yeah, the brain will give you like a testosterone, dopamine boost for doing things. So that's the thing. If you do 3 or 4 sets on bench, oftentimes you notice just from, like, even if it's one workout that you do 3 or 4 sets on, you notice that you start feeling a little bit better. I think that's the brain's way of kind of like feeling like you're accomplishing things. It's kind of like, people always have said why you should make your bed in the morning, because it's like when you make your bed in the morning, you're already what, 5-10 minutes into the day, maybe 5 minutes into the day, and you've already accomplished something. You've already been able to do one thing. And that's the thing in psychology, whether it's weightlifting, whether like that's related to football. You know, Urban Meyer, football coach, used to say to his football team, get 1 first down. Because if you can get 1 first down, what happens? You most likely get another. If you make your bed, you accomplish one thing during the day, then there's a high chance you're going to accomplish something else. Then you're probably, like, you accomplish making your bed, there's a high chance you're going to accomplish getting an A on a test, or you're going to maybe not getting the grade on the test, but you're going to have you're going to be more inclined to have the discipline to set aside 2 hours to study for the test. So that's the thing. I think accomplishing something's big, and you know, I kind of already hit on this a few times, but I think it's important to understand that, say you go to the gym tomorrow and you get bench done, you go heavy, you go 5 sets of 10, and then you do pulleys, low to high pulleys. You accomplish those 2 things. You're most likely feeling better at that point than you would be before you started. Most of the time, not always, but you kind of catch my drift here. Just when you're accomplishing stuff, when you feel like you're getting stuff done, the brain tends to relax a little bit more, and you start to feel a little bit. You kind of start to get that taste of satisfaction. I think that goes a long way when you're trying to have success in the gym. But yeah, diet's so big. Diet's really helped me. I think when I was kind of more towards the side of carnivore diet, I was getting tired a little bit more. You don't really have without carbs, you really don't have the kind of that extra gear. I think that's what's interesting about the carnivore diet is you do have the ability to, like, you do have the extra energy, but you don't really have without carbs, you don't really have the boost, like the extra, oomph to try to really push yourself. You notice on those days where I was only eating meat, you kind of had, like, your mind was clear and your body, like, your mind and body felt good enough to get in and start, but you didn't really have that extra gear to do. You talk about days where you have that extra gear to want to do more, want to push more. Without fruit, it's a little bit more difficult to get that extra gear. Yeah, adding fruit, even vegetables too, was a game changer because it really gave you the needed carbs, needed nutrients. Because I think it's important to look, I mean, from an evolutionary perspective, mostly cavemen, guys back then, they didn't all just eat meat. Sometimes they needed to sprinkle in some fruit and vegetables for extra energy. So I think that eating just lean meat, fruit, vegetables, eggs, I think is it's just such a good diet because it really gives you, the needed carbs, the needed sugar, the needed protein, the needed carbohydrates to really perform and have a good workout and keep your mind sharp. So I noticed that, like, it's weird. I notice on days where I would have a cheat meal, some days I would still feel really good. What's weird about when you have a cheat meal, like the excess carbs, the excess fat you have from fast food or a big sub or pizza, those excess carbs weren't always bad for a workout, but I've noticed that you would feel kind of crappy. Like you'd feel kind of crappy between or after the set. You know how you when you kind of feel bad after a hard set just because the pain and fatigue. I've noticed that like on those days, like if you've eaten like a lot of excess carbs, like a sub or pizza, yeah, you would like, that's kind of the diet where like you're in the middle of the workout and you're like, okay. Those are the days you kind of can feel it because the excess carbs gives you that boost to want to keep going, but it also gives you also that feeling of fatigue where you're kind of like not, it gives you that little bit of fatigue where you kind of want to stop. So I think that's what's interesting about eating bad carbs is it gives you the excess energy to want to keep going, but at the same time it makes kind of the pain and fatigue in between sets more pronounced, that it makes you not want to keep going and makes you not want to keep staying after the workout. So I found that interesting too. At least that was my personal experience. I know I kind of like to enjoy pizza after a workout because it was kind of a way to like treat yourself after a workout. I know pizza isn't the best thing to eat, but sometimes you wanted something good after a hard workout. So, but yeah, I think pizza. Some people do. That's why people always talk about the carb loading before a workout. Carb loading before a workout. I remember I had some of my best baseball games were the night before I did eat some excess carbs, like at a restaurant. I noticed I played better the next day. I think a lot of that's due to just that carb, that extra energy. Sometimes it doesn't always make you. I noticed eating that stuff didn't always make me feel the best because I think the extra carbs was telling my brain that we got a bunch of extra energy stored here. We have room to keep going here. We can't sleep now. I think that's probably why people don't sleep as well when they are eating excess carbs and sugar and fast food, is because it's just like a bunch of excess stored energy that your body's telling you, we have this excess stored energy. I don't know if it's time. I don't know if we should make the decision to go to sleep. So, the anxiety, stress, insomnia, I think some of that is due to, I'm not an expert on this, but I think a lot of that's due to just the excess storage of that, during nighttime, and you just do not want to go to sleep. But yeah, I think it is. Yeah, there's even the guy that studies sleep, he was on Joe Rogan, backed up that finding that eating too much before you go to sleep is not good. You kind of want to be somewhere in between. You don't want your stomach to be too empty, but you don't want to be too full. You kind of want to be that happy medium is usually when you want to go to sleep. And that's what I found. I guess that's what they say is ideal for most people. For me, I would say that's true. Sometimes I can sleep fairly well on a full stomach, but yeah, I think even eating healthy foods, I think the excess amount of foods, I think your brain really is telling you that you should probably, the excess amount of foods, I think your brain is telling you that you should eat more. But yeah, I remember I was after a long night's sleep, I have woken up really extra hungry, extra thirsty, just because I think that's part of, you don't want to go to bed eating too little or drinking too little. I think that's part of it. But yeah, I think that is, I would say, the doctor backs up that fine. You really want to go to sleep kind of in that happy medium. But yeah, I think, it was interesting, Jordan Peterson, Joe Rogan talking about, the carnivore diet, Jordan Peterson claiming that he's not an expert on diet, but he was just really, in his opinion, saying that there was a problem with the way people are eating. And Just way too many carbohydrates. But yeah, you think about it. What if cavemen were eating pizza and subs and cake and ice cream? What if cavemen were doing that? With that, how many of them would have been able to survive? You think about it. People, I guess the immediate argument would be, well, today you don't need to eat your mind doesn't need to be as clear, and you don't have to eat as healthier to survive today, which is true. But also, you talk about stuff that hinders your performance. A lack of a good night's sleep hinders your performance. There's, being in a bad relationship hinders your, talk about things that hinder your performance at work. A bad relationship, sleeping poorly, not having the discipline to show up on time. There's a lot of things that can hinder, not having a car. There's a lot of things that can hinder your performance at work, but no one talks about how eating excess fast food, excess carbohydrates, when you eat, there's studies that show eating excess carbs, eating excess like fast food can hinder your brain as much as drinking alcohol. So that's the thing. Obviously, drinking alcohol is always going to be banned in a workplace environment. But think about it, like, if the stats and findings show that eating bad food can hinder your brain as much at work as alcohol, if those studies back that up, I think that, if that's not eye-opening, then I don't really know what is, because if that doesn't really motivate you to try to eat healthier at work, then I don't know what ever will. But yeah, I think that just, I think part of it's people are so depressed in their job that, they just want to treat themselves to that mouth pleasure, to have that, that big burger and the fries and the shake. I think that's what people want as their quote unquote reward for a long day's work. They don't want to, I think they're already in a kind of a vivacious cycle of feeling bad at their job. So since they're already feeling bad, they want, like what does it matter if I eat stuff that's bad for me, kind of thing. So yeah, that's the thing. I think eating fast food, I think a lot of fast food, sugar, cake is fine in moderation. And there's even studies that back up that eating a food of excess sugar, eating a food of excess carbs is not bad once in a while, but the people that choose to do that every day really, not every day, multiple times a week, all weekend long, really suffer the consequences in their performance at work and their performance to socialize, their performance to really function overall. So if there's studies that back up that eating fast food, eating foods that are with bad fats and bad carbohydrates and excess sugar, if there's studies that show that those hinder your brain as much as alcohol, then I think that's too bad that just doesn't alarm people. But then again, there is people that go to work drunk, get drunk almost every day or every weekend. So, I think people can be aware of this stuff, but I think sadly a lot of people will just never be motivated to change. Which is too bad, but sometimes making those changes are necessary to live a most fulfilling life. So I'm going to wrap with that, guys. Thanks for tuning in to BP Insights. Stay tuned for more episodes and clips from the show. Till next time, peace.